He had no military experience, no combat training, no weapon skills. What he had was money and absolutely no fear of dying. When Osama bin Laden arrived at the Afghan border in 1980, instructors noted that he shot poorly, couldn't fight, and barely understood jihad doctrine. But he was willing to do what others wouldn't. Over the next 9 years, he personally financed and built dozens of camps, roads, and tunnels. He turned the chaos of the Mujahideen into functioning logistics. Nobody had done that before, and millions of dollars flowed through his hands, the source of which, even today, remains deliberately murky. His spiritual mentor, Abdullah Azzam, had also come to the region. And soon an Egyptian named Ayman al-Zawahiri joined them, a convinced Islamist who had just served prison time for terrorist activity. For Azzam and Zawahiri, bin Laden was a literal treasure chest. Together, they built a structure to recruit, fund, and train foreign volunteers, supported by regional intelligence services and, through them, American intelligence. Did bin Laden personally work with American intelligence? Was he a paid asset? No payment records have ever surfaced. No document confirming direct contact has ever been made public. But the money and weapons always flowed through intermediaries, and the sums involved were staggering. Roughly $4 billion passed through to the Afghan Mujahideen over 5 years. Much of it moved through bin Laden. This is a pattern worth noting. Noriega, Saddam Hussein, bin Laden. America's history is full of monsters it created, armed, and later had to destroy. 1984. Despite the promise to his mother, bin Laden crosses the border into Afghanistan. He becomes a fighter. He is wounded in battle. He fights in a direct engagement with Soviet forces, from which he allegedly took a weapon from a soldier and never let it go. That's probably a legend. But it's the kind of legend that builds a reputation. He is identified as a particularly dangerous foreign fighter. A bounty is placed on his head. Every attempt to capture or kill him fails. 1988. In a secret meeting, a decision is made. They will merge bin Laden's money with the experience of a radical Egyptian movement. They give the new structure a name: Al-Qaeda, the base. It sounds like a technical term. Nobody imagines it will become the most recognizable terrorist name of the 21st century. But here's where the first fracture appears. Zawahiri pushes bin Laden toward offensive global jihad, a worldwide revolution without borders. Azzam disagrees. For him, jihad was defensive, only about liberating the oppressed. 1989, a car bomb kills Abdullah Azzam and his sons. Bin Laden stood silently at the funeral. Nobody proved he ordered it. But everyone understood the path to undisputed leadership was now clear. The Soviets begin their withdrawal from Afghanistan. Bin Laden watches them leave and films it. The footage spreads across the Arab world. And in his mind, something clicks. If he, one man with money and faith, could drive a superpower out of a country, then why not challenge the other one? He returns to Saudi Arabia a hero, the son of the kingdom's greatest builder, a man who helped defeat the communists. The admiration lasts about a year. 1990. A neighboring country invades a Gulf state. Saudi Arabia fears it's next. Bin Laden sees his moment. He goes to the Saudi government and offers to personally raise and lead an army to defend the kingdom. They smile politely, the way you smile at someone unstable, and decline. 1 week later, American military forces begin arriving in the region. Hundreds of thousands of troops, bars open for the liberators. For bin Laden, this is the ultimate desecration. Non-believers on the holiest land on earth. He doesn't just object, he starts saying it out loud. In mosques, on audio cassettes passed hand to hand, in furious open letters, intelligence services put him under surveillance. First they ask him to be quiet, then they warn him, then they effectively isolate him. One official later said, "We saw he was becoming a symbol, and symbols are dangerous." 1991. Bin Laden leaves Saudi Arabia, telling authorities it's temporary. They breathe a sigh of relief. He tries to find a base in different countries. Nowhere wants him. Then a foreign leader personally contacts him saying, "Come to us." Bin Laden arrives in Africa with his family, Zawahiri, and several suitcases of cash. He is received like a king without a crown. He buys land, builds roads, runs farms where at night people learn to make explosives. He builds new training camps, new financial networks, and connections to radical groups across the region. The fighter is transforming into the architect. But under American pressure, Saudi Arabia does what was once unthinkable. It strips bin Laden of his citizenship. His family publicly disowns him. He loses everything connected to the family business. He tells his inner circle, "Now I have no country and no family, only enemies. That's simpler. My homeland is the entire Islamic world." This was not a metaphor, it was a mission statement. 1996. Under the same American pressure, he is expelled. He boards a plane with less money than before, but still enough. He lands in Afghanistan. The Taliban, who have just seized power, welcome this legend with open arms. Zawahiri follows immediately. From Afghanistan, they issue a formal declaration of war on the United States, sent to newspapers across the Arab world. American intelligence names bin Laden a sponsor of extremism and opens a secret file identifying Afghanistan as his permanent base. Shortly after, an American journalist conducts the first official television interview with Osama bin Laden somewhere in the Afghan mountains. For the first time, bin Laden openly declares war on America directly to a Western audience. The publicity works. Hundreds of fighters from across the world start flowing in. New training camps are built. He also gains control of an airline, using it to move fighters, weapons, and cash across the region. 1998, bin Laden issues a religious decree declaring it the personal duty of every Muslim to kill Americans and their allies. He had no formal religious education whatsoever, but nobody dared challenge him. For the first time, a document called for global jihad without any territorial justification. The definition of enemy was now broad enough to apply to virtually anyone. And then it stops being words. 1998, 2 American diplomatic buildings in Africa are attacked within minutes of each other. Large explosions, over 200 people killed, thousands wounded. Of all the dead, only a handful were American. The rest were local workers and civilians, people who had nothing to do with American foreign policy. 2 weeks later, bin Laden claims full responsibility. Washington officially confirms it for the first time. American law enforcement deploys hundreds of agents. Intelligence services launch an unprecedented investigation. A small team of analysts who had already been tracking Al-Qaeda for years become the backbone of the hunt. One analyst writes warnings directly to the president that a major attack on American soil may be coming. The president orders missile strikes on bin Laden linked targets abroad. The missiles hit empty camps. Nothing changes, and by the end of that same year, American intelligence briefs the president on al-Qaeda's plans to strike inside the United States, including using hijacked planes. 3 years before September 11th, America knew